welcome back to my channel. My name is Christian. It is the day before Thanksgiving. We are wrapping up the second to last month of 2020, and as crazy as it's been, we really have so much to be thankful for. Looking back on the beginning of the year, I can honestly say your girl did not think we would still be dealing with the virus around this time, but alas, here we are. When I first started my YouTube journey, I released a video that told you guys how I paid off $30,000 worth of debt in one single year. And then right after that, I pretty much went radio silent on my debt-free journey. That's mainly because we are in a time of major uncertainty. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who's had to pause their debt snowball because of job loss, or needing to save for emergencies, or simply losing motivation because this year has been out of everyone's control. So while COVID has kept me from making additional progress on my debt, I still wanted to come and be open and honest and share my experience with you. I'm gonna share the exact amounts that I have left to pay in debt. I'm gonna be sharing why I paused my debt snowball and what I'm doing to stay on track financially in the meantime and between times. So let's get into it. Most of you already know that I started out with just under $70,000 worth of student loan debt. The exact number for you, in case you didn't catch my other debt-free video, $69,853.08. Can't forget the 8 cents. So far, I have been able to pay off just over $46,000 of that total amount, which sounds crazy to me. $30,000 of that amount took place in one single year, and if you're doing the math, then you know I have about $23,000 left to pay off. About $14,000 of that remaining total is a student loan that I took out, and $9,000 of that remaining debt is half of a loan that my mom actually so graciously took out for me, put it in her name, and has even given me the opportunity to help her pay it off. So I'm only paying half of that loan instead of assuming responsibility for the entire amount. I'm only being asked to pay half of that. Thank you, Mom. That helps me so much. I cannot even tell you. Now, at the beginning of this year, I had formulated a plan. With the income that I had at the time, I was set to be completely debt-free, like owing $0, 0 cents by my 28th birthday. And I turned 28 this past October, so that did not happen. The truth is that being laid off from my job in March really stomped those plans right out. Under any other circumstances, I probably would have just gotten another job, whether it be a full-time or part-time gig, but I had to be cautious. We were right at the beginning of the pandemic, and we had to really be cautious and focus on staying in the house. And on top of that, a lot of companies just weren't hiring because people were being laid off left and right. So for the most part, all I could really do was file for unemployment. And I'm grateful for the unemployment that I was able to secure because it helped our family to stay afloat with bills. But I wasn't really able to make any additional progress on my debt payoff, which is the sad part. So as much as I wanted to knock out the remainder of my debt, I knew with no job and very little income coming in, the best thing for me to do at that time was to just pause my debt snowball altogether. It's possible that you have been in the same position and kind of struggling with whether or not to pause your own debt snowball. I know I did. I was really nervous to make that decision because I thought that me pausing my debt snowball meant I was quitting or reverting back to my old financial habits. And that's simply not true. And I'll be honest with y'all, in the beginning, it was kind of hard not to lose myself financially. I mean, beginning of quarantine, and I know I'm not the only one who did this, but Paige and I ordered out a lot instead of cooking. We did not go out and still are not. We're still quarantining. So it was very easy to justify our spending on the fact that we weren't going out anywhere. However, it did not take long for us to realize that COVID was not going anywhere for quite some time, so we had to exhibit behaviors that were more closely aligned with sustaining our health and our wealth. So I want to share with you guys a few things that I've done while my debt snowball has been paused. And if you are thinking about pausing your debt snowball, definitely keep these next 4 topics in mind. The first, I did not incur any additional debt. In pausing your debt snowball, the goal is never to go backwards. We have every right to pause our debt snowball when we need to for emergencies, or when we're just feeling burnt out from the entire process. It's okay to pause, but it's not okay to go back into our old financial habits and undo the work that we've done. Pausing does not mean that you go back to using credit cards or that you borrow money from anyone for any reason whatsoever. It just means that we're putting a hold on things until we're in a better financial situation to resume payments. The second thing that you should do when you're pausing your debt snowball is to stack every dollar that you can. Pausing the debt snowball does mean that we're ceasing progress on our debt payoff, but we can add to our savings and essentially reach another goal. This is extremely important because the same money that you're putting into your savings is the same money you're going to be using to put on your debt once your debt snowball resumes. It is very exciting to see your savings rise dollar by dollar, but it's even more exciting knowing that once things are back to normal, you'll be able to put all of that money onto your debt. Also, in times like these that are completely unpredictable, it's really helpful to have that extra padding on your savings because you just don't know what could happen. The third thing you want to do after you pause your debt snowball is continue to track your expenses. We want to continue to track our expenses so that we can continue the practice of staying on top of our finances. When you're on a debt-free journey, and if you're on one and you're watching this, you know, after a while, you get into a rhythm. We get paid, we track every dollar, we pay our bills, we pay our debt, and so on. It's important to keep that same rhythm even when your debt snowball is paused so that you're not getting too far off of your usual behaviors. This was something that I had to learn for myself this year as well. But tracking every dollar is so important no matter how many or how few dollars you're actually bringing in. It's less about the amount that you're tracking and more of the behavior of tracking itself. And the fourth and final thing that you should do when you're pausing your debt snowball is to keep a debt-free mindset. This kind of feeds into my last point of keeping that rhythm that we talked about. When you take on a debt-free lifestyle and you decide, you know what, this is for me, I'm going all in, I'm paying this debt off, there's a shift in mindset that takes place. Now, we can pause our debt snowballs all day long, but the very last thing we want to do is lose track of the mindset that we've worked so hard to cultivate. I've said this before, and I have to say it again because it's so true. To change your money, you must first change your mind. And what we want to do is keep that change trending in a direction that promotes financial freedom, not financial frivolousness. Let me know in the comments if you're thinking about pausing your debt snowball. Maybe you already have and you have some other tips that you want to share with me. I cannot wait to hear them. And as always, feel free to connect with me on social media. Hit that subscribe button below. Follow me on Instagram at @TheChristianSpear, and be sure to subscribe to my blog at christianspear.com so you never miss an update. Happy Thanksgiving! Thank you guys so much for watching. Till next time. And that's on period. 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 And that's the game.